that live and hunt along the Honey Island swamp, they say there's something lurking in those muddy waters.
It had gotten dark in the evening. I had a little fire going just for light, and then something ran out from behind the tent. I mean, it was moving. It took off from behind the tent and dove into the water. Its head wasn't above water. I don't know any animal in this swamp with its head below water.
These creatures sought refuge in the swamp, never left.
I'd never seen anything like this before in my life.
From eerie screams in the woods to the rare, creepy sights, an adventure into mysterious places always offers extraordinary things that sometimes leave you questioning the boundaries of the known world. Just like this man, who caught a creature crawling out of a swamp and shocked everyone. Another bunch of friends decided to hang out for a night adventure, yet stumbled upon something downright scary. Walking along the stream in the middle of dense bushes, they spotted a dark, ghostly object floating on the water surface. With a long tail attached to an irregular head, the black creature was first thought to be a mutated eel. But since it was uncommon for eels to survive in that habitat, they decided to investigate what it actually was. Just when one of them started poking it with a stick, it suddenly came charging out of the water to attack its offender. Luckily, the young guy managed to escape the charge. However, they were unable to get any clues about that black floating mystery. Bigfoot.
Here's where it gets really strange. Tell me what you see in front of me.
Oh my God.
These are fresh from last night.
A team of researchers stumbled upon this whopping 16-inch long Bigfoot footprint on the riverbank out in the wilds of Oregon.
But the details are there.
Holy crap.
Look how long that thing
That
is.
is big.
Right by the river, they spotted some fresh footprints that got them all psyched up. These footprints could spill the beans about where this mysterious creature was headed or where it came from in the wilderness.
Look at the size of that.
Now, one lone footprint might throw you off, but these guys found a bunch of consistent prints that added a touch of mystery to the scene.
Oh, look. There's another big one. There's a set.
To crack the case, they decided to grab a DNA sample from the prints to check if it was the real deal. But the results are still not revealed. Could this be the evidence that finally proves the existence of Bigfoot? Or should we wait for the final answers?
That blows my mind.
Croc Surprise.
Hey guys, I'm in the Florida Everglades and I'm looking for a 20-foot Burmese python.
While searching for a skunk ape, this young explorer came across an unexpected visitor.
The swamp puppy just comes beelining right at me. Hey buddy, what are you doing?
While boating on the river, he noticed something strange emerging from the water's surface and coming closer to him. At first, he thought it to be some kind of swamp monster, but upon getting closer, he was able to identify the camouflaging monster. It was none other than a crocodile who might have been following this explorer just to taste his meat chunks.
But I found a croc first. I don't like the way he's looking at me.
But lucky was that guy, as he spotted the sneaky reptile timely and managed to avoid a horrible end. Swamp electricity.
First go. Amazing. First go.
The famous Jeremy Wade was out on a mission to catch this crazy electric eel. And guess where he found it? In a tiny mud pool. The water was super shallow though, so the usual way of catching fish wouldn't work. He swaps the fishing rod for a lasso, cowboy style. These electric eels can give a massive shock of 650 volts. So Jeremy geared up with rubber gloves to stay alive and well. And on the first try, he caught that electric eel. Imagine the danger. One wrong move, and he could have been toast. But the gloves saved the day. After checking out the eel, he let it go back in the water. What a wild eel catching adventure!
It's the last place you'd expect to find a river monster, but that's where it was.
Aquatic Cryptid. Imagine going to the river and spotting this downright creepy face staring at you from the river. Creepy, isn't it? A bunch of friends stumbled upon this bizarre face just floating in a lake, all pale and ghostly, with white hair and empty black holes in place of eyes on its face, emerged on the water surface and started staring at the guy recording it. Just as the guy tried to approach it, the creepy aquatic cryptid suddenly went down to its dark depths. People tried to figure out what this strange face was, but no one was able to figure it out. Some said it was just a floating mask, but with those vivid features, it was hard to brush it off as something ordinary. The debate goes on, as no one could give a name to that face, but it sure kept everyone curious. Ghost Diver. Here's a clip that shows how your kayaking adventure can take a wild turn. This kayaker was cruising along, enjoying the peaceful river views, when he spotted something fishy lurking beneath the surface. Quick as a flash, he pulled out his camera to record the mysterious entity heading straight for the boat. Did you catch that? Luckily, the boat was fast enough to keep the mysterious thing from catching up. The creature's true identity stayed hidden, as it never popped up from underwater. The footage has since been shared widely online, with some speculating that the figure was the ghost of a drowned tourist, while others claimed it was a mermaid. However, what exactly the figure was is still unknown. Forest Humanoid. A nighttime adventure turned into a spooky run-in when this group of young explorers came face to face with some strange creatures. Spotting a hut in the middle of the forest, all rusty and hidden by leaves, they decided to check it out. But what they found there shocked them. Not one, but two weird critters were hanging out inside like they owned the place. Just when this group decided to investigate further, the creepy couple crawled out of their shelter and jumped into the river, just to emerge on the other side. The video caused a stir online, with people speculating about the identity of the creatures. Some said it was all fake, while others were genuinely freaked out, thinking these creepy critters might really be out there in the deep woods. What's your take on the video? Share in the comments. Water monster. Some of the strange aquatic animals, including mysterious alien-like creatures, have baffled the whole netizen community, and many of them are still unidentified. One of these unknown life forms stunned people in 2021 when it was discovered swimming in a river in Brunei. The beast, with a bizarre toothy snout, appeared on the river just like an alligator and swam swiftly across the surface. The person who filmed it called it a mutated gar, but many think it might be a new species, as nothing like that was seen before in the river. Worm monster. How would you feel if this freaky squirming blob outside some apartment welcomed you home? Gross, right? A homeowner in Houston, Texas was the one to find it. It's like a scene out of a crazy movie, or like the grotesque creature from Stranger Things, with parts of it wiggling all over the place, and it was just hanging out in shallow water. Now the people online were all abuzz, with many thinking it might be a crew of tubifex worms, also known as sludge worms or sewage worms, while alien fans are claiming it to be some kind of extraterrestrial figure. What are your thoughts over this pretty disgusting thing? Don't forget to share. Sewer monster. Recently, the workers from Athens put a camera in a local sewer. They wanted to record the devastating effect of foreign objects in the underground systems for the public, but as the camera moved through the drain, it captured something rather chilling. Look closely. Suddenly, a small hand popped up from the sewer water, reaching for the camera. No joke. What was that? After the video was uploaded online, things went wild. Some people claimed it to be a frog, while others did not agree, and called it an extraterrestrial entity. Even the police officials were left baffled, not knowing what to make of it. Looks like all the speculations about strange entities in the water aren't too far off. Forest ghost. Heading into the deep forest all by yourself at night? Not the brightest idea. But if you're still up for it, check out this clip to get an idea of what you might run into. It features a weird creature lurking among the bushes. At first, you might have thought it was someone playing a spooky prank, but that idea goes out the window when the thing suddenly vanishes behind a tree. Poof! Gone! These creepy corners of the woods can surprise you with who or what pops up. Just a heads up, stay safe out there. Swamp creature. Deep in the Everglades, a team armed with just a net was on the hunt for creatures lurking in the shadows. They were successful to a great extent, as the murky waters turned up something strange they'd never seen before. Initially, what was thought to be an eel turned out to be a giant salamander.
Oh, wait, okay, guys, this is not an eel.
What is it?
It's actually a huge salamander.
Known as an amphibian, this slimy creature looks like an eel, but has legs. They managed to catch it, but this critter was slippery and hard to handle. It had teeth, and the team was careful not to get bitten. This amphibian, the size of a small croc, rarely showed its face. Although they might not have gotten what they were searching for, the creature they stumbled upon was enough for that hunting day. Haunting scream. This guy, deep in the woods, was on a mission to find some wild mushrooms, but little did he know he was about to step into a horror movie scene. He was busy snagging mushrooms from trees and logs, when out of nowhere, a weird sound grabbed his attention. Fortunately, he captured it on video.
It's like it's holding some water.
Now, imagine being all alone in the middle of the woods and hearing that. It's like a classic horror setup. Such incidents induce two reactions: fight or flight. And our guy did exactly what every horror movie teaches us to do. He bolted and didn't even glance back. Smart move, right?
I think it's time to go.
But what made that bone-chilling scream? A forest giant? Some bizarre creature making its presence known? The question remained unsettled. Real life none. Late at night, in the dark woods, there's a bunch of scary stuff that can sneak up on you. We have all heard about the creepy nun from the horror movie, but imagine if she weren't just a character in a horror movie. Well, these guys found out the hard way when, out of the blue, a real-life nun popped up from a grave, chasing them down during their midnight adventure.
Go! The nun!
What would you have done if something as scary as this showed up right in front of your face? A genuine nightmare playing out in real life. They rushed to escape the spooky nun on the loose, like the Wild Knight. Black Gar.
There's something kind of unusual about an alligator gar here.
Baiting their lines and casting their hopes into the water, these guys embarked on a fishing escapade, unaware of what's to come. But boy, did it turn epic. They reeled in this massive fish, and at first glance, it seemed like a dark gator. But surprise, surprise, it wasn't a gator, but its close cousin, a super rare black alligator gar fish. Now, this giant fish didn't seem too thrilled about having a hook in its mouth. You could practically see the grumpiness on its face. And here's the kicker. Wondering why it's rocking that unusual dark color? Turns out it's got a melanistic condition, meaning it's got an extra load of pigment, giving it that cool dark hue. Nature's full of surprises, especially when you're out there casting your line. Snake carcass. Out in the waters of Indonesia, this guy found something super weird bobbing in the river that totally freaked him out. On a nighttime fishing adventure, he spotted this massive snake chilling in the water. But the crazy part was that the snake's head was nowhere to be found, and its lifeless body was just floating there. Plus, there was a huge lump in its belly, like it had one last epic feast. Our guy dragged the snake to shore for a closer look, wondering how the heck did this snake lose its head? After a quick inspection, he decided not to keep the headless snake as a souvenir, so he tossed it back into the water right where he found it and went on with his trip. Giant Anaconda.
Yes! You got it! Hold her!
So, you know how wildlife enthusiasts are always on the lookout for new and weird creatures, right? Well, these adventure seekers were on a mission to find a giant anaconda. And guess what? They hit the jackpot.
Guys, she's here.
Arguably one of the largest snakes in the world that we are diving with.
The whole crew was scouting every corner of the swamp when they spotted the snake underwater. They managed to corner the massive snake, making it easier to haul it onto the boat.
We got her, guys. We're doing it. We are doing it.
Wrangling this giant critter wasn't a solo job. It took 5 people to handle it. Finding a humongous anaconda that stretches out to a whopping 19 feet isn't a walk in the park, but this crew nailed it. They were over the moon, celebrating their epic catch. Yellow Frog Frenzy. You're probably thinking, what are these little chicks doing in the murky waters? Well, let me break it to you. These aren't chicks. They are actually frogs. Crazy, right? These unusual frogs were seen in Madhya Pradesh, India. Normally, they have the usual green look, but when the rain starts pouring, they go all out and turn yellow. Why? Well, to impress the lady frogs during their mating season, of course. And turns out, this whole yellow frog gang is a pretty rare sight. Usually, you'd find these guys hanging out in more isolated places. But maybe they decided to show off this time around. It was like a frog party in the rain. Dirt Dweller. A strange video went viral, and it's all about this fish that's doing something totally weird. The little one was rolling around in the mud like it was having a mud spa day or something. It's a total head scratcher, and nobody's quite figured out why it's doing that. But not only is it mud rolling, you can't even see its eyes or anything. It's like a mystery fish covered in mud, just doing its own thing. Scientists are probably scratching their heads too, trying to figure out what's up with this fish's bizarre behavior. Weird, right? Disappearing snake. If you're into magic like I am, oh, this clip's got the goods. This fisherman here pulled off a super weird magic trick. Or should I say, creepy. He found a strange white worm-looking thing swimming on the water's surface, and just as he touched it with his fishing rod, bam! It vanished right below the water's surface. Disappeared! It seemed to dissolve into the water just like that. Magic or not, this thing was creepy for sure. Jumbo Gator.
Oh. Open up. There you go.
We've all tossed some food to zoo animals before, right? But feeding a massive alligator out of the open, no safety net? It's sheer bravery, or maybe a bit of insanity, right? This dude was tossing snacks to the humongous gator while standing crazy close to it.
Buddy, hurry up. Come on up here. There you go.
Now, these creatures are totally unpredictable, so being cautious is way smarter than being sorry later. There's another trail camera clip that captured a colossal alligator swimming in a swamp. The size alone is enough to send shivers down your spine. The wild's always full of surprises, that's for sure. Devilfish. You know how fish can be all sorts of weird shapes and sizes, right? Well, check this out. Near a swamp, among the rocks, totally unexpected. With spines on its back and a dark, shiny body, it looked completely like a dragon. But strangely, it was motionless, indicating no signs of life. Probably, it was in the process of decomposition. The person who found it lying on the shore quickly shared it online to gather clues about it. However, they didn't get a satisfying answer. Some claimed it to be the remains of a prehistoric creature, while a few suggested it might be some deceased aquatic animal in the early stage of decomposition. However, to me, it looks like a devilfish coming straight out of a horror movie. But I would also love to hear your suggestions as well. Dolphin in river.
Marine workers in Middlesex County are monitoring a dolphin spotted in a local river.
In a local river of New Jersey, the natives were totally baffled by this unexpected visitor.
The dolphin who has made Old Bridge, New Jersey home.
A dolphin that decided to take a detour and ended up in the South River. Now, for the people watching, it was like a mini show right in their suburban neighborhood. This dolphin would pop in and out of the water, making everyone in town super curious to have a look.
Keeps coming up. If you watch, you'll see him right in this area, or she, and it's really pretty.
But it's not the usual hangout spot for dolphins, and that can be a bit of a risky business. It's a bit of a mystery why a regular old dolphin would decide to take a dip in the river. Spending too much time in fresh water can be dangerous, so the officials stepped in to guide our river roaming friend back to its habitat. You know, nature has its rules, and even dolphins gotta play by them. octopus in the pool.
Wow. That's so cool.
This family was chilling on vacation when they stumbled upon something super cool near Bermuda Park. Hiding in a small tidal pool was an octopus.
Look at him.
This Camo Pro was likely stuck there during high tide, but it seemed to be on a mission, moving around with its tentacles, trying to catch smaller fish.
Wow. That's so cool.
It was like a game of underwater tag, and the octopus was sort of losing. Just as soon as the critter realized that it was being observed, it pulled off a quick color change right before their eyes. It was a total starstruck moment as they witnessed the octopus showing off its famous camouflaging trick.
That is so cool.
Now, the octopus had to wait for another big tide to roll in and take it back home. Puzzling swarm.
About 100 squid trapped in this little tidal pool.
Marine animals getting stuck in a tidal pool wasn't a one-off. In Princetown, England, a massive water body formed, and this dude decided to go check it out. In the water, there were hundreds of these dark creatures just swimming around.
Very, very rare sighting. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
But turns out, they're a whole swarm of squid just chilling. Seems like they've got stuck in there due to the big tide. These creatures are usually pretty clever, but this time they missed the chance to ride the wave back home. Now, they gotta hang tight and wait for another tide to sweep them back to where they belong.
That's too cool.
Nature's got its own little adventures, even in a tiny tidal pool. Oarfish. Our planet's deep waters are like the Wild West, full of mysterious giants. These big guys usually hang in the deep, but sometimes they show up near the shore or take a detour to shallow waters. Like this huge oarfish, a regular deep-sea resident at 3,280 feet. Well, it was discovered in a Mexican lagoon's shallow waters. The guy watching this 15-foot-long serpent-like creature swimming underwater was in for a shock. This ocean figure might have lost its way and ended up stranded near the shore. Despite having a bad reputation, this doomsday fish was rescued by the people on shore, as they quickly managed to send it back to its deep blue habitat. Seeing these colossal creatures up close is super rare, and we still don't know why they take a break in shallow waters. Mud mystery.
Caught my first mud puppy.
What is something that's small, slimy, has 4 limbs, and slithers like a snake? This guy here was trying to grab this strange creature he found crawling on the ground. Look at him picking up this slimy blob. Now, before you get all grossed out, it was just a tiny species of salamander. The man picked it up and tossed it back into the water.
Released.
Crisis averted. Their 2 pairs of small limbs help them move around, but due to their small size, it looks like they're slithering. Salamanders are identifiable due to their smooth appearance. I'd just say they look grossly cool. Upside down hippo. A few friends were out for a walk by the water when they saw an eerie figure floating in the shallow waters. At first, they could not figure out what it was until one of them suggested that it looked like a hippo. It wasn't your typical hippo scene, though. Its lifeless body looked like a part of history, napping for a lifetime. But right when they thought about calling the officials and planning a farewell, they saw movement in the water. Turns out, this hippo had snoozed upside down. Can you imagine going to retrieve a deceased hippo, only for it to spring alive? I swear, I would have jumped out of my skin right there. I mean, who thought the universe could create something so adorable, and yet so potentially lethal? Abandoned zoo.
Seeing the size of these cages, I can't help but feel bad.
Forests aren't just home to wild animals. They also keep some secrets that were once cast away. Like this once popular zoo in the middle of nowhere, tucked away in the woods of Connecticut. Back in the day, it was part of a massive 800-acre place called Shade Swamp Sanctuary. It started as a rehabilitation center for animals in the 1930s, But now, this zoo has seen better days. Today, as you stroll down a narrow trail through the trees, you stumble upon the zoo's remains. It's a bit sad, really. The rusty cages and crumbling structures all tell a story of what used to be. Nature has slowly taken it back, leaving only traces of what was once a lively spot for both animals and people alike. Python versus alligator. Ever wondered what it would be like to capture the two most deadly predators in the battle of their lifetimes? Well, here it is. The tough alligator had its jaws locked around the snake, gaining the upper hand, and it seemed next to impossible for the snake to break free from its hold. Even just watching it is terrifying. Did the guy filming not worry one of these predators might turn on him at any second? But after a long and exhausting battle, the alligator surrendered to the python. On rare occasions like this, the pythons can intimidate the alligator into retreating. It's pretty mind-blowing how the python, after enduring the torment of the gator's powerful jaws, not only survived, but casually slithered away, as if nothing happened. So, who had your vote in this epic showdown? Turtle hat.
What kind of Komodo is this?
Life's got its fair share of surprises, especially when you're chilling by the water. A beachgoer captured this footage of a strange creature coming out of the water. At first, the man was shocked, not being able to recognize the creature as it strolled towards him. He just stood there, probably thinking, what in the world is this thing? But wait for it, because the head of the thing fell off. Now thankfully, it wasn't some alien beach creature. It's just a monitor lizard that seemed like it had a wild day, devouring a turtle and dragging it around like its prized possession. It's like the Komodo dragon decided it needed a fancy helmet for the day. Just another wild day at the beach, I guess. Black bear.
Shows a black bear swimming in the Ohio River this morning.
Out in the wilderness, you never know where you might cross paths with a black bear. A kayaker in the Ohio River spotted one of the animals leisurely swimming nearby.
What's up, little guy?
The unusual swimmer took him by surprise. The video quickly went viral, making it to the headlines. Wildlife biologists suggested that the bear was not distressed, but it is a good idea to give black bears space, whether on land or in water, as you never know when they might feel threatened and attack you. Well, sometimes you just need a morning swim to clear your head, even if you're a bear. Chased by gator. This guy went out on a fishing trip, excited to catch some fish. Little did he. Hungry pelican. On a fishing trip, when a few buddies were out for a chill day by the sea, they spotted this hungry bird making a ruckus on the dock. It turned out the poor guy was in a bit of a beak dilemma. In the gang of pelicans, it looked like the odd one out. They tried to figure out what was up, and upon zooming in, it turned out the pelican had tried to munch on a fish that was too big for its beak size. Greed had gotten the best of him, and now there was a standoff between his beak and the stubborn fish. After some failed attempts, the poor bird jumped off the dock and called it a day. A creature so creepy and unusual, its single encounter will be enough to give you nightmares. A group of Indonesian fishermen had a face-off with a monstrous creature residing in their local swamp. A humanoid entity covered in branches rose from the murky water. You could only see the upper half, with the rest lurking below. It had creepy eyes and looked as spooky as any horror movie beast. Out of the group, one brave guy mustered up the courage to get close, and luckily, the creature decided not to hurt him. Now, hold on to your hats for this part. To get rid of the monster, they actually set the swamp on fire. That's right, you heard it correctly. A flaming swamp to tackle the spooky situation. The internet's still buzzing about this wild expedition. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like it and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.